Okay. Audience. Another audience. Okay.
Hey everyone, my name is Riley Thomas. I'm going to give an informational speech on fast fashion. Fast fashion is a term used for the quickly moving, mass-produced industry of fashion, where the clothes are cheaper because the materials and the labor is much cheaper, and there's more clothing being produced every day. Now, and this is quicker fashion because not only do they have more seasons, because we used to only have 2 to 4, which was spring and summer and fall and winter. Now we have 52, which is every week there's a new fashion design and there's new styles and colors and cuts. And this is a lot cheaper because they do it in other countries where they can pay them less, and they know the companies like managers and CEOs, they know they can pay them less because they just need more money, and they're like, hey, if you can do this for $3, then we can pay you the $3 for this for so many pieces. And it happens in like bigger countries like China and India, and these countries, the buildings that they're working in, they're not very workable habitats. A lot of places have been destroyed by fires and collapsings. And there, a few years ago, we had the 3 biggest disasters of the fashion industry in 1 month, because I think a few thousand people died in every disaster. And the reason that so many things are being made in these countries, like I said before, was because it's a lot cheaper. And in the 1960s in the U.S., 95% of our clothes were made in the U.S. And now, only 3% of our clothes are made in the U.S. So that is why it's so much cheaper to make it in other places, and they get the clothes from those places and make them here. The dyes and materials that are used to make these clothings are typically cheaper now. The materials, they can range anywhere from mixing materials such as cotton and polyester together, and that will make it not able to recycle the material because you cannot separate the materials anymore. Therefore, you can't make new threads out of the old clothing and make new clothes out of them because you can't separate the fabrics anymore. And then they have the synthetic fabrics like polyester, which it's made out of a whole bunch of materials that you typically put in your gas tank, and so that should not be on your body, and it makes you sweat more because it's not breathable, such as cotton. It also produces microplastics when you wash them, which goes into your water source, which affects marine life. And I have a short clip of a video that I can show you.
The Pacific garbage patch and other plastic debris in the ocean. But have you heard of microplastics? When larger plastic debris, like this, breaks down in the ocean, it degrades into microplastics. Pesticides and other chemicals can be absorbed from the water into the microplastics, and animals that eat these microplastics can move the chemicals up the food chain, eventually affecting humans who eat seafood and other fish.
It will result in humans eventually getting hurt, and it's all because of the clothes we're wearing. There are also other synthetic fabrics that destroy the other parts of the ecosystem, like viscose or radon, which is ancient tree pulp. It is pulp from ancient trees, from ancient forests in places such as Canada, where the trees are cut down and they are broken apart and made materials out of, which results in the trees not being there anymore, and that is a very sad experience for many people. Also, the quote, "less is more" by Robert Browning is very true in this case, because if you don't buy as many clothes, then these products are not going to be as produced as much. Therefore, making the habitat and the people working for these companies eventually maybe getting paid more, maybe the habitat's not being affected as much. And there's also the factor that shopping at thrift stores or secondhand stores or getting things hand-me-down is much better, because then you're not supporting these companies, or you're getting things and recycling them in a different way than just tearing them apart and making new threads out of them. And the quote by Coco Chanel, which is, In order to be irreplaceable, one must always be different. It's very like useful in this case because if people want to be different, thrift stores are a good option and they can not support these companies, these mass-produced clothings. And it's just the people are so affected who make these. One girl interviewed by the True Cost, she has a daughter and she only gets paid $10 a month to make these garments, and that is nowhere near living cost, as we all should know. And only 93% of the fashion industry is not getting paid a living wage. And it's because all these clothes are being made cheaper, and I like to call this when smart people get greedy, because these people know what they're doing. And they know how to get cheap things, and they know how to get it out of people to keep money for themselves. And that is essentially how the fashion industry is being torn apart in many ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Good job.
Take everybody's picture.
Oh,
Very good.
thank you. Thank you.
Very good. That was very good.